You know, people think just because you don't clap back, you don't argue, you don't swing back with words when somebody disrespects you, that you weak, that you soft, that you scared. But let me tell you something, silence. Silence is one of the strongest things you can ever learn to carry. See, growing up, I thought strength meant you had to always have the last word. I thought strength meant you had to let everybody know you ain't the one to play with. Somebody stepped on your shoe? You better say something. Somebody looked at you funny. You better handle it. You better handle it. Somebody talked about you? Oh, you better go back even harder. That's how I thought strength worked. But life taught me a different lesson. Life showed me that every time I opened my mouth in anger, I was really just giving somebody else control over me. They pushed a button. I reacted. They pulled a string. I danced. And let me tell you, when people know they can pull you like that, they will use it against you every single time. They'll keep poking, keep pushing, keep testing, because they know you're going to give them a show. But when you stay quiet, when you let it roll off you like water, that's when they don't know what to do. That's when the power shifts. I remember a time in my career where people came at me sideways, said I wasn't good enough, said I wasn't funny enough, said I didn't belong in the same room as the big dogs. And oh man, every part of me wanted to stand up and shout back, "You don't know me. You don't know where I've been. You don't know what I've done. You don't know how hard I worked for this." But instead, I stayed quiet. I let my work, I let my craft, I let my grind answer for me. And you know what happened? The same people that disrespected me had to sit in the audience one day and clap for me. Because I understood something. Silence doesn't mean I didn't hear you. Silence means I don't value what you said enough to waste my breath on it. See, strength ain't in the noise. Strength is in the restraint. A weak man explodes every time he feels something. A strong man can feel the fire inside, but he won't let it consume the room. He'll let it fuel him. He'll let it fuel him. He'll let it push him further. That's real strength. You gotta understand that silence is strategy. You don't go to war every time somebody throws a rock. Sometimes you just step over it and keep walking toward your destination. Because if you stop for every rock thrown, you'll never get to where God is trying to take you. Let me break it down for you. When you respond to disrespect with silence, you're not saying, "I'm too weak to respond." You're saying, "I'm too focused to be distracted." You're saying, "I know who I am. I don't need to prove it to you." You're saying, "I got a bigger picture in front of me, and I won't shrink it down to your smallness." Silence is self-control. And self-control. And self-control, that's the real flex. Look, I know it's hard. I know it burns you sometimes when somebody says something slick and everything in you just wants to snap back. But let me ask you this. What do you lose when you argue with a fool? Because the truth is, when you argue with a fool, people can't tell which one is which. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is close your mouth and let the fool keep talking. Let them show the world who they are while you protect your peace. And here's the best part. Silence doesn't mean you ain't moving. Silence doesn't mean you ain't fighting. Silence means you shifted your fight to the right battlefield. You stopped fighting people and you started fighting for your future. You stopped battling egos and you started battling for your goals. You stopped wasting energy on nonsense and you started investing that energy into your success. And let me tell you something. Success makes the loudest noise of all. Success is the best clapback, the sharpest comeback, the sweetest revenge. When you succeed, when you rise, when you stand tall after all the disrespect, you don't have to say a word. Your life speaks for you. Your growth speaks for you. Your blessings speak for you. So don't ever let anybody confuse your silence for weakness. For weakness. Don't ever let anybody make you feel like you less because you chose peace over pettiness. Silence is not weakness. Silence is power. It's discipline. It's wisdom. It's elevation. Anybody can shout. Anybody can fight. But it takes a real one to stand still, hold their head high, and keep on moving forward. That's power. That's how you win. You ever notice how some people just live for a reaction? They poke you. They test you. They throw shade your way. And then they sit back like, let's see what he does. Let's see if she snaps. And the crazy part is, the moment you react, the moment you give them that energy, you just gave them exactly what they wanted. That's the trap. They don't even care about the disrespect. They care about your reaction. Now let me put it to you this way. You don't owe everybody a response. You don't have to explain yourself to every critic. You don't have to clap back at every hater. You don't have to give attention to every little side comment. Because here's the truth. Not everybody deserves access to your energy. Not everybody earns the right to pull you out of your peace. I learned this the hard way. Early in my career, I wanted everybody to like me. If somebody didn't laugh at a joke, I took it personal. If somebody in the back whispered, "Oh man, he ain't that funny," I wanted to prove them wrong right then and there. I thought I had to defend myself every single time somebody questioned me. But what I didn't realize was, every time I reacted, I was losing focus on the bigger picture. I was wasting time proving myself to people who didn't even matter in the grand scheme of things. See, here's the secret. People who truly matter don't need constant explanations. They know your character. They know your work. They know your heart. And the ones who don't matter, they wouldn't believe you anyway. You can waste hours trying to prove yourself to them, and they'll still find something else to pick at. So why bother? You don't owe them that. I'll tell you something else. Reactions cost you. Every time you react, you spend emotional currency. You hand over peace, energy, time. And a lot of times you hand it to folks who ain't never going to give it back. So if you got big dreams, if you got a future you're chasing, you better learn to budget your energy. Save it for the people and the battles that truly matter. Now, I'm not saying stay quiet because you're scared. I'm saying stay quiet because you're smart. It's a difference. Weakness stays quiet because it's afraid. Strength stays quiet because it's wise enough to know this ain't worth it. When you know who you are, when you're confident in what God put in you, you don't need to validate yourself with a reaction. You don't need to meet every insult with a comeback. Here's what I've learned. When you rise in life, people will talk. When you succeed, people will criticize. When you step into your calling, people will try to pull you back. It's automatic. But remember this. If you stop every time somebody throws something at you, you'll never get to your destination. You don't owe them your time, you don't owe them your energy, and you sure don't owe them your reaction. Sometimes the best thing you can do is keep walking, keep building, keep growing. Let your work be your voice. Let your success be your defense. Because the truth is, you can't argue with results. You can't argue with progress. You can't argue with favor. I'll give you an example. When I finally started making it big, there were people who said, Steve ain't supposed to be here. He ain't polished enough. He ain't educated enough. He ain't fit for this. And now, I could have wasted my breath arguing back. I could have told them all about my grind, all about my struggle, all about my vision. But instead, I let the work speak. Every show I did, every laugh I brought, every opportunity I turned into something bigger. That was my response. And you know what happened? After a while, those same voices got real quiet because they couldn't argue with the fact that I was still standing. So let me tell you this. You know everybody a reaction. You don't need to clap back at every insult. You don't need to get revenge for every wrong. You don't need to prove yourself to people who already made up their minds about you. Save your reaction. Save your reaction. Save it for your purpose, your growth, your vision. Because at the end of the day, the loudest answer you can ever give to disrespect is to keep moving forward, keep winning, and keep shining. Remember this. Silence doesn't mean you didn't hear them. It means you heard them, and you chose to rise higher anyway. That's real power. That's how you win without wasting your breath. See, the sweetest clapback in this world ain't words. It's success. You can talk all day. You can argue. You can defend yourself. But nothing shuts a critic down faster than you walking in the room with proof that you made it. Success is like a microphone that don't need batteries. It speaks for itself. I'll be real with you. I've had people count me out more times than I can remember. Folks looked at me and said, "Oh man, you ain't gonna make it in this business. You ain't got the right look. You ain't polished enough. You ain't from the right background." And man, that used to sting. I wanted to tell everybody, just watch me. You don't know how hard I work. You don't know what's inside me. But over time, I realized something. Talking about what you're gonna do is one thing. Doing it, that's a whole different conversation. Let me tell you something. The best way to answer disrespect is to go win. Not to clap back, not to argue, not to waste time trading insults. Just win. Because when you win, the people who disrespected you gotta face the truth. They can't deny it anymore. They can't act like you're nothing when you're standing right there as living proof of everything they said you couldn't be. I remember a time back when I was just getting started. People laughed at me for chasing comedy. Oh man, you funny at cookouts, but you ain't no professional. They told me I was wasting my time. They told me I should quit and get a real job. Now, I could have gone back and forth with them. I could have tried to convince them that my dream was valid. But instead, I just kept grinding. I kept working stages nobody else wanted. And I kept hustling, writing, failing, trying again. And years later, when I was standing on national TV, hosting shows, doing what I love, those same people had to swallow every word they said. And guess what? I didn't even have to say I told you so. My life said it for me. See, success has a way of silencing noise. It doesn't just shut people up. It flips the whole conversation. The same folks who disrespected you, the same ones who doubted you, will be the ones saying, I always knew you had in you. Ain't that funny? They'll rewrite history real quick once they see you shining. But here's the thing. You don't do it for them. You don't succeed to prove them wrong. You succeed because you were built to do it, because God put something in you that nobody can take away. Their disrespect, that's just fuel. Now don't get it twisted. Success don't happen overnight. It don't come easy. There'll be moments when you feel like clapping back, moments when you feel like quitting, moments when you feel like the disrespect is louder than your progress. But that's when you gotta remind yourself, every small win is building your answer. Every step forward is writing the comeback story. Every time you choose focus over drama, you're stacking bricks on a foundation that's gonna speak louder than any words you could ever say. Here's the truth. Words fade. People forget arguments. But success leaves a legacy. Years later, nobody will remember who said what about you. But they'll remember what you built. They'll remember the mark you left. They'll remember the life you lived. That's the power of letting your success answer the disrespect. And listen, don't confuse success with just money or fame. Success is walking in your purpose. Success is raising your kids right when folks said you couldn't. Success is starting that business when they said you'd fail. Success is graduating when they laughed at you for even trying. Success is healing when they thought you'd stay broken. Whatever it looks like for you, that's your loudest answer. So the next time somebody disrespects you, the next time somebody doubts you, don't waste time fighting. Don't waste time proving. Just smile, keep quiet, and keep moving. Because every step you take toward your dream is a step that shuts them down. Every accomplishment, no matter how small, is a victory song they can't ignore. Let your life do the talking. Let your grind be the rebuttal. Let your blessings be the punctuation. That way, when you finally stand in the fullness of who you are, you won't have to remind anybody of what they said. Your success will remind them for you. Because at the end of the day, disrespect is temporary. But success is permanent. And when it speaks, it don't stutter. One of the biggest lessons life will ever teach you is this right here. Every battle is not worth fighting. Man, let me tell you, I had to learn that the hard way. Because when I was younger, I thought I had to fight every single time somebody came at me. Somebody said something slick. Oh, I was ready. Somebody doubted me. I had a speech ready to prove them wrong. Somebody disrespected me. I wasn't letting that slide. But the problem was, every battle took energy. And every fight drained me. And after a while, I realized I was spending more time swinging at shadows than actually moving toward my goals. See, you gotta understand this. Not all battles are created equal. Some are distractions dressed up like challenges. Some are bait, set up just to pull you off your path. And if you keep stopping to fight every little battle, you'll never get to the war that actually matters, the one for your destiny, your future, your calling. Now let me paint the picture. Imagine you're walking down a road, headed to where God told you to go. And along the way, people throwing pebbles at you. Just little rocks. If you stop for every pebble, you ain't never gonna make it to the destination. Because by the time you finish fighting over that pebble, another one's coming, and another one, and another one. But if you keep your eyes forward, if you say, this pebble ain't worth my time, eventually you walk right into the place where your victory is waiting. That's wisdom. Let me give you a real-life story. Back when I was grinding in comedy clubs, there were always folks who wanted to start something. They'd say, Steve, you ain't that funny. Or they'd boo, or they'd try to throw me off my game. Man, every part of me wanted to clap back, wanted to roast them right there, wanted to prove myself. But here's what I figured out. If I spent all my time battling hecklers, I'd never sharpen my craft. I'd never learn how to stay focused under pressure. So instead of fighting every heckler, I let my performance speak. I realized the real battle wasn't with them. It was with me. It was with my patience, my discipline, my focus. And when I stopped fighting the small battles, I started winning the bigger ones. That's the same thing in life. Not every coworker's comment deserves a response. Not every family member's criticism needs an answer. Not every hater online deserves your time. Sometimes the strongest move is to just walk away. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know this fight won't move you forward. Now, let me be clear. I ain't saying never fight. I ain't saying never stand up for yourself. There are some battles you have to fight. There are some battles you have to fight. You gotta fight for your dreams. You gotta fight for your family. You gotta fight for your health, your peace, your purpose. But that's the point. You save your strength for the battles that actually matter. You don't waste your fire on foolishness. Think of it like this. A lion doesn't chase every dog that barks. He knows who he is. He knows he's the king. So he saves his strength for when it's really needed. That's how you gotta move. Stop letting little distractions trick you into wasting your energy. Stop letting petty arguments pull you out of character. Stop letting small-minded people bait you into a fight that don't even serve your future. Here's the truth. Some battles are designed to delay you. They're not meant to destroy you. They're just meant to waste your time. And if the devil can't destroy your destiny, he'll try to distract you from it. He'll send folks to press your buttons, hoping you'll get caught up in drama instead of moving toward purpose. Don't take the bait. Learn how to say, this one ain't worth it. I got somewhere bigger I'm headed. And let me tell you something powerful. Sometimes the best fight is no fight. Sometimes walking away is the strongest move you can make. Because you show the world, I'm too focused, too mature, too elevated to stoop down to that level. And that kind of strength, that's undeniable. So from now on, before you step into a fight, ask yourself, is this battle helping me or is it holding me back? Is this fight building my future or is it just draining my energy? If the answer ain't clear, keep your peace and keep moving. 'Cause every battle ain't worth it. Every fight don't need you. Save your fire for your purpose. Save your fight for your dreams. Because when you choose your battles wisely, you don't just win fights, you win your life. Let me tell you something real clear. When somebody disrespects you, they ain't exposing you. They're exposing themselves. Disrespect is like a mirror that reflects their heart, their insecurities, their character. And if you pay attention, you'll see that what they say about you usually says more about them. See, I used to take disrespect personal. Somebody said I wasn't good enough. I thought maybe they saw something I didn't. Somebody told me I wasn't funny enough, sharp enough, smart enough. I'd sit up at night questioning myself. But over the years I realized, man, that ain't about me. That's about them. They're showing me who they are, what they think, how they operate. Disrespect is just their character slipping out. You gotta remember this. People who are secure in themselves don't need to tear other people down. Folks who are happy with their lives don't go around throwing shade at everybody else. Confident people uplift. They encourage. They support. But insecure people, bitter people, hurt people. They spit disrespect because that's what's inside them. Hurt people. Broken people break others. That's not your reflection. It's theirs. Let me give you a story. Back in the early days, I was working hard, grinding night after night, taking every little gig I could find. I remember one promoter looked me dead in the eye and said, "Steve, you ain't never gonna make it past these small clubs. You just local funny. That's it." Now, I could have taken that to heart. I could have let it crush me. But years later, when I look back, I realized he wasn't talking about me. He was talking about himself. See, he didn't believe he could make it further. He didn't believe he could build something big. So he projected that onto me. That disrespect came from his limitation, not mine. And you know what? Today, I'm living proof his words had nothing to do with me. That's the thing about disrespect. It's a window. When someone talks down to you, when someone laughs at your dream, when someone insults you, don't take it personal. Look at it for what it really is, free information about their character. They just told you how small their vision is. They just told you how broken their spirit is. They just told you where their heart sits. And once you know that, you can stop wasting energy trying to convince them otherwise. You can stop trying to win their approval. You can just say, Thank you for showing me who you are, and keep it moving. Now, don't get me wrong. Disrespect hurts. I'm not saying act like you don't feel it. Words can cut deep. But once you understand it's not really about you, you can shift how you respond. Instead of reacting with anger, you respond with wisdom. Instead of snapping back, you step back. Because now you see the truth. It ain't exposing your weakness, it's exposing theirs. Think about it. If somebody walks around constantly belittling people, constantly starting arguments, constantly disrespecting others, what does that say about them? It says they're unhappy. It says they're unhappy. It says they don't have peace inside. And if you know that, why let it get to you? Why let their brokenness make you break? Here's the beauty of it. Disrespect is revelation. It shows you who belongs in your circle and who doesn't. It shows you who's rooting for you and who's rooting against you. It shows you who you can trust and who you need to step away from. Don't ignore it. Don't excuse it. When people show you their character through disrespect, believe them the first time. And here's another angle. Sometimes God allows you to be disrespected so you can see the truth about somebody. You thought they were for you, but that moment exposed their heart. You thought they had your back, but their words revealed their envy. You thought they celebrated you, but their tone showed their bitterness. That's not a loss, that's a blessing. Because now you know the truth, and the truth will always set you free. So the next time somebody disrespects you, instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What did they just reveal about themselves?" Watch closely. Because every time somebody talks down on you, they're showing you where they stand. They're showing you how they think. And 9 times out of 10, they're telling on themselves, don't carry the disrespect as your burden. Let them carry it as their reflection. And remember this, people's character always speaks louder than their words. So let them talk, let them reveal, let them expose themselves. And you just keep shining. See, everybody wants growth, but not everybody's willing to let go of ego to get there. And that's the real test, because growth ain't just about getting more money, more success, more shine. Growth is about learning how to control yourself. Growth is when you realize, I don't have to prove myself in every situation. I don't have to show out every time somebody disrespects me. I don't have to let my ego drive the car anymore. Growth is when you start choosing peace over pride. Now, let me be honest with you. Ego had me trapped for a long time. I used to think I had to win every argument. I used to think I had to always have the last word. Somebody came sideways at me. Oh, I had a comeback ready. And when I deliver it, my ego would puff up like, yeah, you showed them. But you know what? After the smoke cleared, I'd be left with nothing but wasted time, wasted energy, and in some cases, broken relationships. My ego won, but my peace lost. One day it hit me. Ego is loud, but peace is powerful. Ego wants attention, but peace wants progress. Ego says, a clap back, they need to know who you are. Peace says, they already know who you are. Move on. Ego thrives on drama, but peace thrives on focus. And once I learned to pick peace over ego, that's when I started to really grow. Let me share a story. Years back, I was negotiating a deal, and somebody at the table disrespected me. They didn't believe I deserved the numbers I was asking for. They made a slick comment about me not being polished enough. My ego wanted to flip the whole table over. My ego said, stand up, Steve. Let him know you ain't the one. I swallowed my pride, kept my cool, and chose peace. You know what happened? I walked away with that contract signed. And the very thing they doubted me for, I ended up proving with my success later. That moment taught me something. Peace can take you further than ego ever will. See, ego is short-term. It feels good in the moment. You clap back, you feel like you won. But peace is long-term. It builds your character. It protects your spirit. It preserves your energy so you can keep winning. Ego burns bridges, but peace builds them. Ego costs you opportunities, but peace creates them. And here's the real kicker. Growth means realizing not every disrespect needs a response. Growth means you'd rather keep your peace than entertain your pride. Growth means you'd rather keep your focus than feed your ego. That's why I say, peace is expensive, but ego is even costlier. You gotta choose which one you're willing to pay with. Now, let me make this plain. Choosing peace doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you're wise enough to know when the fight ain't worth it. It means you're strong enough to walk away, knowing who you are without having to prove it. That's real strength. That's growth. Think about the people you admire most. They don't argue with everybody. They don't respond to every insult. They don't waste their breath on nonsense. Why? Because they've grown past ego. They've learned that peace is a luxury you protect, not a prize you gamble with. And let me tell you something. Peace feels good. Peace lets you sleep at night. Peace keeps your mind clear. Peace lets you focus on your blessings instead of fighting over small stuff. Ego will have you tossing and turning, rehearsing what you should have said. Peace will have you smiling, saying, "Thank God I didn't waste my energy on that." So when you're faced with disrespect, when you're tempted to prove yourself, ask, do I want to be right or do I want to be at peace? Because 9 times out of 10, the answer is peace. And that right there is growth. Growth is not about winning arguments. Growth is about winning your life. And sometimes the only way to win is to put your ego in the backseat and let peace drive. There comes a point in life where you got to realize you can't fight every battle by yourself. You can't fix every wrong. You can't clap back at every disrespect. You ain't built to carry all that weight alone. And let me tell you something I know for a fact. The reason you ain't got to respond to every disrespect is because God will handle the stuff you can't. See, I've lived long enough to know this. When people come against you, when they throw dirt on your name, when they laugh at you, when they plot against you, it may feel like you got to rise up and fight them. But the truth is that's wasted energy. You're fighting in the wrong ring. Because the real battle, that's spiritual. And the only one strong enough to fight a spiritual battle is God. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a fighter by nature. I don't like people disrespecting me. I don't like folks lying on me. And I used to feel like I had to defend myself every single time. But I started noticing something. Every time I took it in my own hands, every time I let my mouth run wild, I ended up making the mess bigger. I'd walk away frustrated, drained, sometimes even regretful. But every time I stepped back and said, "All right, Lord, this one's yours," somehow, someway, he turned it around. Let me tell you a story. Early in my career, I had people who tried to block opportunities from me. Folks who would smile in my face and then go behind closed doors and whisper to executives, "Don't give Steve that gig. He ain't ready. He ain't good enough." Man, when I found out, my first reaction was to march right up to them, cuss them out, and expose them. But I didn't. I prayed. I said, "God, if this door is mine, open it. If it's not, I'll wait on what you got for me." And guess what? Not only did that door open, but it opened bigger than what I was even asking for. That's when I knew, what's for you can't nobody block, and the disrespect of people can't override the favor of God. Here's what I learned. God sees what you can't. He hears the conversations you're not in. He knows the intentions behind every word. So while you're worried about defending yourself, he's already working behind the scenes. He's already moving pieces in your favor. He's already planning a comeback that's bigger than any clapback you could have given. Samsa. Listen, see, you gotta stop thinking silence means you're powerless. Silence means you trust the one with the real power. Silence means you say to God, "I can't handle this, but I know you can." And let me tell you, God's justice hits harder than anything you could ever say. When he promotes you in front of the same folks who disrespected you, that's justice. When he blesses you in the face of your doubters, that's justice. When he elevates you beyond what they ever thought possible, that's justice. And the best part, you didn't even have to lift a finger to fight back. The Bible says, "A vengeance is mine," says the Lord. That means you don't have to repay evil for evil. You don't have to match their energy. You don't have to get dirty just because they did. Your only job is to stay faithful, stay focused, keep doing what you were called to do, and let God handle the rest. Now, does that mean it's easy? No. It takes a lot of strength to step back. It takes a lot of maturity to keep quiet. It takes a lot of faith to let God fight for you. But when you do, you realize something powerful. You don't have to carry everything. You don't have to exhaust yourself trying to prove your worth. You don't have to stress about payback. Because you serve a God who sees, a God who knows, and a God who handles business better than you ever could. So the next time somebody disrespects you, instead of rushing to defend yourself, try this. Smile, keep your peace, and whisper to yourself, God's got this, because he does. And when God handles it, trust me, it's handled for real. Remember this, your silence doesn't mean you lost. It means you trusted. And when you trust God, you never lose. You know, a lot of people think the loudest person in the room is the strongest. They think if you yelling, if you clapping back, if you shutting people down with words, that means you powerful. But let me tell you the truth. Loud don't mean strong. Loud just means loud. Real strength, real confidence, that's quiet. Quiet confidence is the kind that don't need a microphone, don't need a show, don't need to prove nothing. It just walks in the room and everybody feels it. See, I've met folks in my life who talk all day about how tough they are, how successful they are, how important they are. They argue, they brag, they make noise. But when you really look close, most of that is insecurity dressed up as confidence. Because if you're truly confident, you don't need to argue about it. You just are. You don't have to prove who you are to nobody. You just live it, and people can see it for themselves. Let me share a story with you. Years ago, I was at a meeting with some executives. Now, there was another guy in the room who wouldn't stop talking about how great he was. I did this. I accomplished that. I'm the man for this job. He was loud, he was bold, he was trying to dominate the whole space. Now me, I didn't say much. I listened, I spoke when it was necessary, and I let my work history speak for me. And when the meeting was over, guess who they called back? It wasn't the loudest one in the room, it was the one who had quiet confidence. Because they could see I didn't need to oversell myself. My track record already did the talking. That's what I'm telling you. Quiet confidence speaks louder than arguments. You don't have to convince people when the proof is standing in front of them. You don't have to out-yell nobody when your presence already holds weight. Now, I ain't saying confidence means silence in every situation. Sometimes you gotta speak up. Sometimes you gotta use your voice. But there's a big difference between speaking with purpose and arguing with ego. Loud arguments are about pride. Quiet confidence is about certainty. And the truth is, certainty don't need volume. It needs consistency. Think about some of the strongest people you know. They don't walk around trying to prove themselves every second. They don't start fights just to show they ain't scared. They carry themselves with a calmness that says, I know who I am. I know what I bring. I don't need your validation. That's real power. Because see, arguing drains, confidence sustains you. Here's another truth. People respect quiet strength more than they respect loud pride. You ever notice that? The one who's always yelling ends up getting ignored after a while. But the one who stays calm, the one who keeps composure, the one who lets their results speak, people lean in for that. Because confidence draws respect, but arguments push it away. And let's be real, arguments rarely change anybody's mind. You could scream all day and the person's still gonna think what they think. But when you carry yourself with quiet confidence, when you let your success and your actions do the talking, eventually, people gotta face the truth. They can't argue with results. They can't argue with fruit. They can't argue with favor. So here's the lesson. Stop wasting your breath trying to win loud arguments. Start investing your energy in building quiet confidence. Work on yourself. Build your skills. Chase your goals. Grow your character. Strengthen your spirit. And when you walk into the room, you won't need to say much. Your presence will speak for itself. Quiet confidence is knowing that you don't need the world to clap for you. You are already validated by God. Quiet confidence is walking past disrespect without blinking. Because you know where you're headed is bigger than their smallness. Quiet confidence is smiling when they mock you. Because you know the day is coming when they'll have no choice but to respect you. So remember this, don't confuse volume with value. Don't mistake noise for strength. Let your confidence stay calm. Let your spirit stay steady. And let your life speak louder than your mouth ever could. Because at the end of the day, quiet confidence don't just speak, it roars without a sound.